How you guys doing? Welcome inside the Hall of Fame. I'm Booker T, 6-time world heavyweight champion. And guys, this show will be playing on my radio show tonight. I'm on ESPN 97.5 in Houston, Texas. And the show gonna be airing like 9 o'clock tonight, so I need you guys to be engaged. This portion is gonna be called Ask Book. Whatever you guys got to ask Book, you can ask Book here today. And more importantly, we're gonna have some fun, all right? All right? We're gonna have some fun. But before we get started, guys, I just want to take you guys back. A few of you guys probably remember when I first got started, was along that ride back in the day with WCW, raising the roof and whatnot. This thing started for me, guys, back in 1990, and I pretty much got discovered in 1992 in WCW. But I tell you guys, from the bottom of my heart, I want to thank you guys, man, because if it wasn't for you guys, and I know it sounds cliche, it wouldn't be no Booker T. It really wouldn't. I mean, you guys, no, seriously, you guys raised the roof. You guys brought the signs. You guys made sure I got put in a good position. And you just don't know what that means to a young wrestler trying to make it in this business. I come from humble beginnings from the streets of South Park, Texas. You know, everybody know my story as far as me getting locked up when I was a kid and trying to change everything and making it where I am today. But guys, trust me, honestly, I could not have done that without you guys' support. I remember when I won the World Heavyweight Championship back in WCW, and I questioned myself. I said, man, are the people ready for Booker T as World Heavyweight Champion? Because I really didn't believe it myself. But when I won that night, man, you guys were like over the top, man. I didn't even go out and party myself that night, but you guys went out and partied for me. So I just want to say, man, I appreciate that more importantly than anything, because I was looking at my stats earlier today, and I had to Google the stats, and the stat sheet was so long, you know, I say, nah, I ain't gonna even pull that out. You know what I mean? 6-time television champ, you know, 14-time tag team champ, 2-time Hall of Famer, all of that, man. Like I say, seriously, I owe you guys the lifestyle that I live. And like I say again, I appreciate it. Again, guys, Hall of Fame gonna be airing tonight. If you guys got any internet service, I got it. I don't know if you guys got the code. You guys get the code? You guys get the code, the internet code? Yeah, I know they're trying to keep it secret because actually, they didn't even let me see the code. But guys, like I say, my career has been long. Started, like I said, in a company called WWA, all the way to WWE, all the way to TNA, all the way back, and now I'm here with AEW. How that sound? You know, now, and the thing is, everybody, a lot of people wonder, man, how did Book get on this ship? You know, how did he make that happen? You know why? Because I'm 6 foot 3 inches tall, I'm 248 pounds, a roping, stomping, grave digging, destruction jack, and I'm a grown ass man, and I do what I want to do. All right? But no, seriously, man, I wondered about the cruise, man. I wondered how this experience was going to be coming out here, being amongst the fans, and I must say that this is what's truly missing from the business. You know, being a part of you guys and you guys being a part of us. I always say a lot of times, you know, that you guys can't come to us. We got to go to you. It's a team thing. It's a family-like type thing. And this, the way it was when I first got into this business, it wasn't about the money. It wasn't about the fame or anything like that. It was about, you know, being a part of something. And this thing that's being pulled off here on this ship, Chris Jericho, big ups to Chris Jericho for pulling something like this off. I tell you guys, you really don't understand how big that is. But like I say, the microphone is out there. We're going to be taking questions. What's the microphone? That's the man with the mic right there. You guys got questions. I know you got questions. Let's let it rip right now. Got one. Here we go right here, front right here in the green. What is that? What? Oh.
Hey, Buck.
What's going on?
How you doing? What was your favorite feud of all time in history?
That's an easy one, man. That really is an easy one. It's not talked about a whole lot, but the matches that put me on the map, what was my greatest feud? The matches that put me on the map was with Chris Benoit, the best of 7 series. God rest him and his family's soul. But I can't sit up here and come up here and sugarcoat it or anything like that and say it was this guy or that guy. Chris Benoit was literally the greatest wrestler that I ever had the pleasure of being inside the ring with. He was one of the best wrestlers, if not the best, to put on a pair of boots. And not just myself. He brought the best out of every guy that got in the ring with him. Every guy that got in the ring with Chris Benoit was a better person when they walked out of the ring. Trust me. I dreamed, I wish back in the day when I first got into wrestling, I say, man, Ricky Steamboat, Macho Man Randy Savage, WrestleMania 3. If not the greatest match of all times, one of the greatest matches of all time. I say, man, if I could just have one match like that throughout my career, man, that would be the icing on the cake. And I got a chance to have 8 matches with Chris Benoit like that, and they were the best matches of my career. Made my career, definitely was one of the best of all time.
Hey, Book, big fan, bro. Big fan.
Look at this guy.
I just got to go to battle with this dude on WWE backstage. And
Paul Walter Hauser, y'all. Paul Walter Hauser in the house, y'all. The star of Richard Jewell, he is right here. Give it up for him. Seriously,
thanks, bro.
Give it up.
Thanks,
give it up for him.
You gave me some pretty stiff jabs verbally on WWE backstage. So my question for you is to tie that in. Who is one of the stiffest workers you've worked with no negative connotation, just somebody who the next morning you woke up and went, oh, yeah, I just worked with so-and-so?
Oh, man. There's only one guy, and he's been, his name has been mentioned many, many times as far as a guy you really don't want to mess with. Probably one of the toughest guys, if not the toughest guy in the wrestling business. Feared around the world, and that was Haku. Haku literally, no, seriously, man. Haku, it was this movie that I watched back in the day. It was called The 5 Deadly Venoms. And, and it was this one guy on there, he could hit you so hard in the front, it would leave a mark on your back. It was called a sand palm, and that's the way Haku was, man. He would hit. I remember tagging with my brother against him and the Barbarian, and before the match we always go over what we want to do and whatnot. And I would always go to Barbarian after working with them one time. I would go to Barbarian and say, "What do you want to do?" And I would stay as far away from Haku as I possibly can throughout the whole match. But no, man, real true to life, tough guy, Ming Haku, King Haku, whatever you want to call him, seriously.
This gentleman here in the green.
Hey, Buck, thanks for, first of all, being on this boat.
Oh,
we
thank you.
appreciate that. I got actually a 2-parter. One, I always wondered, how did you and Steve Austin do that whole grocery store thing? Always curious.
Steve Austin, Booker T in the grocery store, the Green Frog. I tell you, man, it was magic. It was magic as far as 2 guys going out there, and especially with the personality of Stone Cold Steve Austin, badass, kick-ass, don't take nothing from nobody, beat the boss up, and then you see him entertaining in the grocery store with myself. No, that's what we were able to do back then, I think better than anyone, and that was go out there and improv and just, more importantly, have fun, take it as far as we possibly could. Back then, we did that with literally no camera no lighting set up or anything like that. We had one camera. We looked over the store and we said action. And we went through it. We tore it. I don't know, maybe $10,000, $15,000 worth of damage. But today, literally, no, seriously, if they did that same shot today in 2020, They would have to rehearse it probably for a couple of days. They would have a lighting crew in there. They would probably have 3 to 4 cameras. They would have to edit it, you know, and it would come out to what it was. But Steve Austin and I, we went out there one take, and we created some magic. And that's what wrestling is. People talk about the wrestling matches, but I think with wrestling, you know, the fans remember the moments more than anything. You know, Roddy Piper and, you know, hitting, you know, Snooker with the coconut. You know, that's what people, I think, remember from wrestling, and I think that's what I was so good at. I love performing inside the squared circle, but when Goldust and I was together and we got a chance to make you guys laugh, and it had nothing to do about wrestling, and you guys saw Goldie and I go, man, we love you guys. That meant a whole lot. When Goldie and I split up, man, the fans cried because we gave those guys moments, and that meant so much to me and Goldie at that time. Appreciate your question.
We've got one here in the back.
Hey now, Booker, why did Triple H have to beat all you WCW guys?
That's an easy question, man. Even though I came out, you know, I came through the ashes. You know, I got beat, you know what I mean? But it never, let me say, it was never about wins and losses with me or anything like that. But to be real about the question, why did Triple H just beat the hell out of all the WCW guys? Frame it the way it is. I really honestly think that it was a real war. WCW versus WWF at that time, I really feel like it was the real war. And it wasn't about WCW coming over and they making this big, you know, WWF against against WCW. I don't think it was about that. I think it was about taking these guys down, taking them out, getting their asses out of there, raising our flag, and if we could beat the hell out of all the WCW guys and send them all packing, that's what we're going to do. I just happen to be, you know, on another level. I just happen to be. Now, I always believed in my talent. I always believed that I could work with these guys. But there again, coming from WCW, coming to WWF, WWE, I left every accolade behind. I left all the world titles, all the television championships. I left all of that behind because that's really not what it's about as far as the business goes. I tell my students, I got a school down in Houston, Texas. I tell my students, you know, reality of wrestling, you know, I tell my students, you got to know how to make it in the locker room before you have a chance at making it in the ring. You know, and I remember I was in WWF for about, I don't know, 6 months to a year. And I was dressing, you know, with the guys in the locker room. And I remember Undertaker coming to me one day and he goes, hey, bro, you know, why don't you come dress over here with us? You know, there was a big locker room with only about 4 or 5 guys in it. And I was like, oh shit, I made it. You know what I mean? But I had to work my way to that position. I just didn't feel like I was entitled, which a lot of, I must say, WCW guys came in feeling like they were stars. And in this business, you're only as good as you was yesterday. You're only as good as, you know, how much money you draw and how much, you know, merchandise you're selling. That's what this business is built on and based on for many, many years. Appreciate your question.
Speaking of road, Booker, I'm from Texas, and the promotion's awesome. What made you decide to come up with the school and bringing the promotion through Houston?
Reality of wrestling, man. What made me start Reality of Wrestling? Back in 2005, I started the school, but it's been a dream of mine for a long time. I remember when I first got in my first wrestling school, it was back in 1990, and the school was 8 weeks. It was an 8-week course. And it was $3,000. Now, you can't learn a whole lot in 8 weeks, but I do remember, man, that $3,000, man, I could use that cash. But I said, man, I want to give young people trying to get into the business what I call a half of a chance at getting into the business the proper way. So I opened my school. I got a 2-year course. We got one of the best schools, if not the best school in the country. And I'm talking about right down in Texas City, Texas. We got 3 wrestling rings. We run our own promotion, Reality of Wrestling. We run right now. We're up to like 265 shows, and we appreciate you guys because we're up to 190 subscribers, and that's all on our own, guys. That's all just a mom and pop shop. Me and Charmel doing the work. 2005 to 2020, 15 years we've put into our school, as well as, guys, we haven't taken one dime home from the school because it's not about us. It's about having, a place for our young people to be able to go and be a part of something more than anything.
I was wondering what's like the best rib that you have done or been a part of in your.
I'm not a ribber. If you look at me, you can tell. You mess up, you're gonna get an ass whooping. That's why I tell you. I see a lot of you suckers out here, and I know you might be thinking about jumping up on this stage. Don't, because I will be whooping your ass. Seriously. No, but. I had a lot of Red Bull jokes pulled on me, man. But no, I think my favorite rib that was pulled on me, because like I say, I'm not a ribber, all right? But we were on an overseas tour, and guys like to rib all the time. And like I said, I just don't play that because I'm always dressed real nice, just like I am right now, looking like Captain Stubing. But no, we're on a flight, and we're on our way overseas, and on the flights, I go to sleep a lot. And I had this nice vest on with a nice white shirt and slacks, and I was looking real fly. And I fell asleep on the plane, and when I woke up, under my vest, I had a piece of cheese, a big square piece of cheese stuck in my shirt here, and I had one here. When I took my vest off, the cheese that soaked into my shirt made two big round circles on my shirt. And then I realized I had whipped cream on my head, and it was piled up this far, as well as all of my nails were painted red. And I remember this guy's name was Don Sandifer. I remember it like it was just yesterday. He was the tour director, and he was sitting directly behind me. And I turned around to Don Sandifer. I say, man, you need to do something about this shit. This is getting ridiculous. Somebody's going to get hurt. And he looks at me, and he goes, and all of his fingers are painted red also. So that was just, those are the kind of, guys get crazy with ribs. They've taken it to the extreme. Guys have, taken my Red Bull. But I think guys, I used to have a Red Bull fetish, where I had to have at least 2 Red Bull before I work. And we would I would put my Red Bull in a cooler sometimes just to keep them cool. And now just imagine there's 2 Red Bulls and it's, 100 to 200 waters in the same, bucket. And some fool would come along and it's not realizing somebody's keeping their Red Bull cold, take one of them. And if you saw me after one of those incidents, guys, they're very memorable. Chavo Guerrero, he's seen a few of those moments. I remember one time they took my Red Bull, and I was so mad, I wanted to piss everybody off. So the cooler that they took the Red Bull out of, I picked it up and I smashed it on the ground, and all the water and ice was in the middle of the hallway, just to make an example. Don't fuck with my Red Bull.
All right, we've got a question back here.
So we have a lot of cool gimmicks and shows on the cruise right now, like the Smash Bros tournament and Show Me the Flair, all that type of stuff. Really think we're missing out on a Spinaroonie competition. But
we might have to think about that. We still got a couple of days left.
My big thing, question I've always wondered, what was the origin of the Spinaroonie? Where did it come from?
Spinaroonie. It's crazy that I'm here on the Jericho cruise, and we're talking about the Spinaroonie and where did it come from and how did it originate. I was a break dancer back in the day, and I loved, pop locking and whatnot. And I was practicing one day in the wrestling school, and I did it, and it just kind of stuck as far as me having something different to do in the wrestling ring, because I think that's what wrestling is all about, trying to find that one little something different that you can do that no one else does. And it was cool. And then it becoming my signature, that's not something that I was foreseen or anything like that. It wasn't a thought process. Normally in the business, when you find a move like that, it's like you're slipping on a banana peel and boom, it becomes something special, like the Rocky spit punch. You know what I mean? But I was doing it, and I remember one day Mark Madden in WCW, I did it, and he goes, Spinaroonie, Spinaroonie, Spinaroonie. And it became the Spinaroonie, and I was like, man, that's pretty cool. He gets no money. He gets no money for that or anything. But I was talking about Mark Madden maybe a year ago, I swear. I was like, Mark, man, you came up with the name, the Spinaroonie and whatnot. And he goes, actually, I didn't come up with the name. And I go, well, who came up with it? He goes, Chris Jericho. He said he was having a conversation with Chris Jericho one day about me and talking about that, and Chris Jericho called it that Spinaroonie thing, and he stole it from Chris. But Chris Jericho is the one who came up with the name Spinaroonie. But I tell you, it stuck with me this many years, and hopefully I'll give you guys one Spinaroonie before I get off this ship.
Hi.
How you doing?
My friend here runs a promotion in New Zealand, and we were wondering what specific tips you have for running a successful training school and promotion, because in New Zealand, crowds kind of don't really come to wrestling, so we were wondering about that.
Well, I mean, it's not just New Zealand. I think it's like that around the world. If you just can't set up a tent, and think about, this is a wrestling show. You got to start from the bottom up if you're trying to create something, especially in New Zealand, because there's not a whole lot of wrestlers there. When I first started my wrestling school, it wasn't a lot of wrestlers either, other than, guys that had been on the circuit, guys that were looking to get paid big money to come in. And when you do that, your promotion is not going to last very long. So for me, I said, man, I'm going to start mine from the bottom up. I'm going to start with wrestlers that don't anyone know. They've never wrestled before. I'm going to create soldiers. And it took me a long time. I mean, it didn't happen overnight. But all of my guys, literally, that work on my show have been a part of my school somewhere along the way. Just like, for instance, my right-hand man, I met him when he was 16 years old. I did a speaking engagement at his high school. He became my first student. Now he's my editor, my producer, my writer, and he's 32 years old. He's a grown man now. I've had guys that's been with me, from the beginning of their careers and retired, never making it to the big league or anything. So you got to be able to find soldiers and find good wrestlers that you can promote as your own, especially when you're doing it from that perspective right there. And if you do it right, and have a little bit of patience, it'll work out for you. Let me get that mic up here. Get you.
Yeah. Hey, Buck.
What you got?
What did the Undertaker streak ending mean to you?
The Undertaker, the streak? You know what, man? The streak ending. And the thing is, people would love to see the Undertaker wrestle for 20 more years. They'd love to see him make that walk and do it. But we as professional wrestlers, we do this for you guys. We do this to perform, and give you guys those ultimate moments. But I'm a realist. There again, like I said, I grew up, from humble beginnings. I lost my mother when I was 13. I lost my father when I was 10 months old. And nothing lasts forever. Nothing. And if we go into it looking like that, especially we as professional wrestlers, just like for me right now, people say, man, you look like you can still go. And I know that. But it ain't about me. It ain't. It really not. It's not about me. If I can push these guys to the next level, I saw Darby Allin earlier, Sammy Guevara, he came to my school when he was a young kid, man, and now I see him doing this stuff. Man, I'm like a proud dad when I watch these guys come up, and I want them to go to the next level. I want to be the one to actually put that stamp of approval. And if I can do anything to help them get to where I've gotten and have the success that I have, live in a big house and all that shit, that's what I'm here for. All right? So, nah, man, big ups to these young guys. And if I can help them anyway, that's what I'm here for.
Hi, Book. I think some of my fondest memories of your career were your time as King Booker.
King of the world.
I'm going to put you on the spot
The
here.
most noble, the most majestic, the most royal king of them all.
I'm going to put you on the spot here. How important was your wife, Queen Charmel, to that gimmick?
That's not put me on the spot, man. That's my queen. No, man. I can honestly tell you that without Charmel, that would have never been a King Booker. Never. Because that wasn't my thought process or anything like that. That wasn't my, a master plan that anyone came up with. It was real. It was real as it possibly could be because in the locker room, in the back area, in the catering area, when I would talk about Charmel, I would always refer to her as my queen. No matter what. Before King Booker ever came along, she was my queen. If anybody, stepped to her the wrong way, they had to deal with me. So, no, that's the way I feel about it. I remember one time I was doing this angle, and it was a cage match. And one of the agents, I won't mention any names or anything like that, they wanted to do this angle, and they wanted Charmel to actually climb up the cage, And I say, Charmel is not doing that. And they go, well, why not? And I go, because she's my wife, okay? That's why she's not going to do it. She's always been there for me in every sense of the word. And when literally Charmel and I got married, and our anniversary is coming up here in a few days, 15th anniversary. I literally went into the office and had a conversation with Vince McMahon and said, hey, man, I'm wrapping it up. I don't want to do this anymore, and I appreciate everything that you guys done for me. And it was like, what the hell? What's going on? What's the deal? And I was like, well, just got married, and I don't want to end up, anything happening. And he goes, well, let's hire Charmel. So I'm like, oh, we get another check? He's like, yeah. And I'm like, okay, I can stick around. Brought Charmel in, and everything just clicked. Everything was right. We literally was partners. We really was like Bonnie and Clyde. And then the King of the Ring thing came around, and lo and behold, how would you like to become the king? It was great. I'm doing it with Charmel, but honestly, guys, I don't think being king could have literally left an asterisk on my career. I don't think being king was something that was, made to say, hey, man, let's put you on top or anything like that. It could have went totally the opposite way, but I feel like in this business, when you get something, it's up to you to make it what you actually want it to be. So giving me the role of King Booker, I was like, oh my God. I'm thinking about Hollywood calling. I'm thinking about producers, man. I'm thinking about, I'm gonna do an audition every week, you know what I mean? And something good is gonna turn out of this. And that's what happened. King Booker, I had a guy by the name of Brian Gerwitz writing for me at that time, and he would write stuff for me, and he would just let me take it and make it whatever I wanted to make it. And it was such a great chemistry, me being King Booker and being able to create. That's what I tell young wrestlers, man. Be able to, try to create, try to find, try to make it as big as you possibly can. It's always going to be over the top. You're always thinking about the guys way up in the cheap seats and how they are looking at this. For me, that's what King Booker was. It was the greatest time of my career, especially being with my wife, because a lot of times, man, I was so tired after those shows. I put in so much work, and every time, no matter how far we had to drive, my wife would always kick me to the side. She'd take the wheel, make sure I got there, made sure everything was taken care of as far as getting to the hotel. I couldn't have did it without her, so no, you ain't put me on the spot, man. That's just real talk.
Hey, Booker. How you doing, brother?
What's up, dog?
How you doing? I just want to say thank you for all you've done for wrestling, not just as a professional, but as a black man. Because growing up, we all know that wrestling is a Southern-based sport, and that black wrestlers didn't get a lot of love. And thank you for bringing dignity to wrestling, and I really appreciate
No,
it.
I appreciate that. You know what, too? To add on top of that, like you say, for a young black kid, normally our way is not going to be professional wrestling.
Yeah.
Our way out is going to be rapping, playing some football, some basketball.
Telling jokes.
Selling a few drugs. It's going to be something. But wrestling has just never been our way out because we've never seen a whole lot of us doing it.
Yeah.
So when I got into wrestling, I definitely wanted to set an example. But I want to set an example not just for young black folks, young black kids, for everyone as far as what does it take to get to that next level. Everything that I did, it was done by design. You know, having a cool name like Booker T, you know, that's a championship name. Could make some money with this. And then also the music that my brother and I came out to, we didn't want to stereotype ourselves and come out to rap music. So we say, man, we gotta cater to everyone, not just, you know, put ourselves in a box over here. And I think for us, when we came out, when fans looked at Harlem Heat, they didn't just see, you know, two black guys coming out. They saw Harlem Heat and some guys that was getting ready to, you know, wreck shop and leave you guys with a moment more than anything. Because for me, like I say, guys, as long as this thing has been going on still to this day, I have so much fun doing it. It's great. It's the most awesome job in the world. But it's just like this setting here today. If I don't leave you guys with a moment where you guys walk away from here feeling a certain way, I didn't do my job. So that's what wrestling is leaving you guys with a moment that you guys are going to remember for the rest of your lives. Seriously. Who's next? Oh, you want a rematch?
No, rematch. No, I don't want none of him right here at all. Hey, guys, I just want to say real quick, the respect that I and the rest of the wrestling world have for this gentleman up here is huge. This was a man amongst men. It's a guy that we all looked up to and a guy that represented his color, his person, his family, and our business. He represented them correctly. So the respect I have for him and his lovely wife, that is up to here, guys. So you guys are getting a treat right now with this guy right here, okay?
Appreciate you, dog.
For real. Much love to him.
Tell you a story about Chavo. You know, I remember back in WCW.
This guy.
That's another story. But me and Eddie, you know what I mean, we was chopping about something, going back and forth about something. And I'm telling Eddie, what are you going to do, man? What are you going to do? And Eddie's telling me, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? And I see Chavo in the corner, you know. I'm like, what the hell is he thinking? You know, so you don't want to mess with Chavo Guerrero. You might get shanked. I'm serious.
But that story is that they're in the locker room and they're getting into it, and Eddie's in his underwear, and they're talking about, well, I can do this better than you. Well, I can do this better than you. Oh, yeah, what are you going to do about it? And I'm looking at Eddie, and Eddie's about this big. He's about that big, and his brother's over there, and I'm going, oh, man, really, Eddie? You kind of pick a fight with this guy? Really? I'm like, oh, all right. Gosh, great.
What's crazy
Eddie
is-
and his Tejano G's.
What's crazy is, man, 5 minutes later, it was all over with. You know what I mean? And we was back together because we're boys. We boys. This is my boy, and I love him like he's my brother, seriously. And what he just said right there, I really appreciate those kind words, seriously. Who's next?
Okay, this is actually a little bit of a cheeky question, and maybe you won't appreciate it, maybe you will.
Yeah. I used to want to be a stripper.
That was the question. I don't think your wife liked that.
She knows.
So I was wondering what the chance was of someone who's come from New Zealand and is going to the Royal Rumble to be able to do a training session at your school while they're over there.
Hey, come on down. We'll definitely set you up free of charge. If you wanted to come from all the way from New Zealand, you want to come down to Reality of Wrestling and get a session, definitely.
Honestly, thank you so much. I coach people, so I just want to get better and learn more.
Yeah, come on down. Come on down. We'll definitely run you through the training sessions and, give you a tour of the whole school.
Thank you so much.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Hey man, I just want to say you are amazing.
Thank
but the biggest thing that clicks with me with your story is like from where you start, like that bottom ground, like that's kind of how I grew up and stuff. But my favorite thing in life is always getting I have something I could give back. So in the context of community, and using that word loosely, whether it be wrestling community, community where you live, community where you're from, community like this with other wrestlers, what has been your favorite thing when you look back like, wow, I'm glad I was able to get myself into a position to give back to this community, and what was it?
Man, you know what? That's a hard question because I just never feel like the work is never done. You know what I mean? There's still so much work still yet to be done. You know, people come to me and they say, man, you got a really awesome facility here, man. And myself, I'm thinking, man, we got so much more work still yet to be done. You know what I mean? As far as our school go, we want it to be not just the biggest school, we want it to be the best where everybody want to be a part of it. You know, so, I'm never satisfied as far as resting on my laurels and saying, I'm here, I've made it. Nah, man, I mean, when you get comfortable, that's when the rug gets snatched out from under you. When you start feeling like everything is okay, that's when things start getting rocky. So you always want to stay focused, and I think that's been my greatest asset. I remember one of the Armstrong brothers, Scott Armstrong, he told me one time, he said, Book, man, throughout my career, I lost focus, like so many times, and I've been around you all of these years. And the one thing I can say about you, you've never lost your focus. And the reason why I've never lost my focus is because, like I said, I love wrestling. I love entertaining. I love being able to go out and shine. But at the end of the day, all it is a job. That's it. And it pays the bills. It takes care of my family. It takes care of my kids, keeps a roof over our head. At the end of the day, that's all it is. When the fans stop cheering for you and the lights go dim and you're there all by yourself, then you understand it. But, and a lot of people want that limelight. For me, staying relevant is so much more important than being the star. Staying relevant, just being a part of it is so much more important than one. Because the guy at the top, he's got more pressure on him than anybody. The guy that's just floating in the middle, just give me the check. I'm happy. That's me. Who else we got? There we go.
Harlem Heat was always one of my top 5 favorite tag teams.
Top 5. You know what? I say top 5 too. I say top 5. I get a Road Warriors. I get a Rock and Roll Express, Midnight Express, Harlem Heat. There it is. Keep it going.
All right. Who was your favorite tag team to wrestle against?
Oh man, favorite tag team to wrestle against was definitely the Nasty Boys. And I'm literally lobbying for the Nasty Boys to get into the Hall of Fame, this year because, man, they deserve it. They should have got there way before Harlem Heat ever got into the Hall of Fame. I really, honestly, truly believe that. Those guys, with myself and my brother, we had like a 6-month run together. And when you have like a run like that together in professional wrestling, they call it being married. And I couldn't wait to get a divorce. I'm serious. No, but it was crazy. It was crazy because those guys, they would beat us up, and they were like so offbeat sometimes. They were so, uncoordinated in certain ways. But I tell you, 2 guys that you couldn't have more fun with, 2 guys that that was going to watch your back in a certain situation, 2 guys that wasn't out there to, do anything but entertain the crowd to 100%. So the Nasty, of course, we had great matches with the Steiners and whatnot. Hog Wild was one of my favorite matches of my career. But the Nasty Boys, top notch, and hopefully they'll get in the Hall of Fame this year.
We've got one in the back. Hey, Book.
Yeah.
First of all, I really love the tag team with you and Goldust, just all good moments. So on the subject of that, what's your favorite story with Goldust, whether in the ring or on the road? Because you guys had a lot of on-screen funny times, but what is something that we may have not caught?
Man, what did you catch with Goldie and Booker T? What didn't you catch? I don't know. We put everything out there, man. There again, with Goldust and I, we go back to WCW. My first pay-per-view that I was in, War Games, it was against Dustin Rhodes, and so we go back. We not just Dust, not just Goldie. Cody's like he's like a son. He really is. My last match that I had in WWE, the last angle I had was with Cody Rhodes. It was because I wanted to do it. I wanted to wrestle Cody. I wanted Cody to make it to the next level. I remember I had a match back in WCW, and I came through the curtain. I was green. I was fresh into the company, and I walked through the curtain, and Dusty Rhodes, he looks at me and he goes, "They won't put you on first no more." And I was like, oh, shit, Dusty just gave me the stamp of approval. I'm coming up. You know what I mean? So when Goldie and I got together, it was like, peaches and cream, man. It was the best, you know what I mean, that I could ever think about, because there again, it was about going out and entertaining. Goldie and I would come to work every week, and we would literally be in the locker room together with no one in there with us, and we would go, man, can you believe that they pay us to actually come and do this? Are you kidding me? So for me, it was nothing that Goldie and I held back, man. We just went out there and had fun and gave you guys, there again, some great moments.
First of all, fellow Houstonian, well, former from LaPorte, so if that counts. But you've probably been asked this before, but if you were to wrestle anybody today, NXT, AEW, NWA, anywhere, who would it be?
Man, who would I want to get in the ring and work with? It's crazy. I've tried to remove myself from wrestling, from a perspective, because I did everything. I wrestled everybody that I could ever want to wrestle, and I can honestly say, when I watch these young guys wrestle today, I couldn't keep up with them. I could. I slow them down. That's what I do. I wouldn't try to keep up with them. I just ground their asses and say, slow the hell down. But now, guys today, it's a totally different era. It's a totally different style. It's a totally different thing. And I love what they do. I love that they're changing the game and giving you guys what they want you to remember. But I really can't say is there one specific guy, because I just don't sit around thinking about myself. I'm not like one of those promoters that want to have a promotion and win the Reality of Wrestling Heavyweight Championship. I'm always thinking about the young guys. But I will say the one fish that got away that I thought was one of the greatest, if not the greatest, performer that ever stepped in the ring was Shawn Michaels. I never got a chance to wrestle Shawn, and I always thought I was pretty good. I thought I was an exceptional wrestler, but I always thought I was a better entertainer. But I thought Shawn Michaels and I could have did something that was really, really special, that would have left a memory for you guys that y'all would have remembered for a very, very long time. He's the only guy I didn't get my hands on.
Hey, Buck. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Hey, Buck. First off, I just wanted to say one of the best tag champs ever. Thanks so much. That was amazing.
14 times, baby. 14 time tag team champions with 5 different partners. How many people done that? How many people done that?
Good point,
How many?
good point.
How many people done that? 5 times. 5 times. But go ahead.
My question is, you had an amazing best of 7 series, I believe, with Benoit back in the day. And your fluidity is just amazing in tag and singles competition. But was your preparation any different for that? Because that had to be a technical, just holy mackerel.
You know, I talk about that kind of stuff as far as being able to, as far as preparing for matches and whatnot. And when I watch wrestling and I watch a lot of the guys these days, man, they go out and, like I say, they do like so many different amazing moves. And for me, as well as Benoit, I never did anything that I had to practice. I've never practiced. I've never gone and out in the ring and say, hey, let's go over this and go over that. You know, I feel like I was an artist. I was like Picasso. And I want to make sure, I want to paint that grand, painting right in front of you. I want you to be able to see every stroke, every line. And for me, especially with Benoit, to have 7 matches, so much of that was just ad-lib. So much of it was just going out there and working on the fly and kicking each other's ass, which was the best part. I remember in one of those matches with Benoit, I took 31 chops. 31 chops in one match. And literally, I asked for every one of them. Yeah. I wanted to see how tough I was that night. And I went home and I was ripped up like crazy. but that's what the business was. It was literally going out there and trying to suspend the imagination for you to go, wow, that was really, really awesome. And you believed it. That's what I got when I went to a wrestling match when I was a youngster. I never believed in Santa Claus or the Easter Bunny, or professional wrestling from a perspective. But I loved it. And I love what Hacksaw Jim Duggan, and Mad Dog Buzz Sawyer gave me. Because, man, I thought it was real when they did it. I don't know about the rest of those guys that came out here and did it, but those two, they made me feel something that nobody else on the card made me feel. And that's what, Benoit and myself went out and, because some of those nights we just go, man, let's just go out and just feel it tonight. Let's just do it. You know what I mean? We'll find whatever we want to do. We knew the finish. We knew that part. But everything else, a lot of it, I miss that. I don't miss wrestling at all. I miss the performance. I miss the Shakespeare. Talking to Chris Jericho just a couple of nights ago, and we was talking about, what him and I talk about all the time, which is Shakespeare. Leonardo DiCaprio. We're gonna go out Leonardo DiCaprio tonight. Chris Jericho and I, we work on house shows. We know the finish, and the rest of the match was Shakespeare, Leonardo DiCaprio. We didn't have to talk to each other at all. We go out in the ring and perform at the very highest level. And there again, as a performer, if you don't have to practice it, if you know you can do it 10 times out of 10 times, if you know you can do it in your sleep, that's when it becomes a whole lot of fun. That's when we can listen to the crowd and say, no, just stay right there. We got them. It's beautiful. I got time for a couple of more, man. A couple of more.
All right here.
Oh, what you got?
Now, if my memory serves,
Don't say it.
I don't
Hulk
know.
Hogan? No, I'm just playing.
No. Not going there. But if my memory serves, your original name was Booker T. Washington.
No, it wasn't. That's just something that Booker T. Washington is a real person. You don't know about Booker T. Washington? You don't know about the story of a black man? That Booker T. Washington was great. But my father's name was Booker T.
So my real question is, where did the name Booker T come from?
There again, my father's name was Booker T. My name's Booker T. I'm Junior. And I'm just blessed to have a name like that. But that name, it came with a lot of costs, man, because kids are cruel, And from my first, 10 years, maybe 12 years, my name to the kids was Booger. And I wanted to change my name when I became 18. I was like, man, I'm changing my name. I can't stand this name. Kids call me Booger all the time, I didn't even know how to introduce myself to people sometimes, What's your name? Booker. It just did not sound, powerful coming out. And then when I became a professional wrestler, Booker T it just sounded like such a powerful name. It had so much strength to it, and that's what I talk to my, like I say, my students. I say, man, you got to have a championship name, and it's stuck. And as well as I must give a lot of credit to Hot Stuff Eddie Gilbert. I don't know if a lot of you guys may not know that name, but Hot Stuff Eddie Gilbert, when my brother and I first became a tag team, he goes, your name is going to be Booker T, which I'm so grateful for now, having my own name and no trademark, no one can take away from me or anything, and you're going to be Stevie Ray, and that's how the name Booker T and Stevie Ray came to fruition. It was all because of Hot Stuff Eddie Gilbert, but yeah, that is. That's the story. Who else we got? There we go.
So obviously, there with Steve Austin, you had the big supermarket blowout, and you teased like programs with him throughout, from the WCW Invasion to the Vengeance 02 Undisputed Title. You were running in. Why do you think they never went with a major program with you guys, major pay-per-view blowouts? You guys could have even main evented a WrestleMania, something like that.
You're right about that. I can't say why they didn't do it or anything like that. And I must honestly say that I never got caught up into what the office was doing or anything like that. I never got caught up into storylines and whatnot. I must say, out of all my years actively in the wrestling business, I've never gone up to a producer or a writer and say, hey, what do you think of this idea? Not one time. I've never cared about if my one-loss record was better than, one side. I never thought about, people talk about the Triple H match, that him and I had. And I swear I've not lost one bit of sleep over that match, because this has all been entertainment for me. It's all been giving you guys, like I say, everything. And for me and Stone Cold, if we would have had an angle, man, it would have been great. But I wasn't one of those guys going home saying, man, why am I not having an angle with Steve Austin? Man, why am I not winning this match? When you start thinking like that as a professional wrestler, I think you get totally lost in the moment of what's happening. It becomes totally not about anything other than about you. So for me, like I say, I've always been a great actor. I've always been one of the best. You give me the script, and I'll make it as good as I possibly can. I don't care if it's 2 minutes on air. I'm going to go out and try to make those 2 minutes the best 2 minutes that you've ever seen. And because you got to understand, you can't buy that 2 minutes, because it's expensive. It's very expensive. So it's that time on television is worth its weight in gold. You just got to know how to go out there, literally mine it and find it and get it up out of there. And for me, I was great at going out there looking for minerals, man. I was looking for all the diamonds and all the gold, and that's why I'm a 35-time champ. What else, man? I got one more. What we got?
Yeah, hi. This isn't a wrestling question.
I know about life.
How did you get involved in the movie Trivia Schmodown, and are you going to be part of it, like, in the future?
Schmodown. You guys know about
Yeah.
Schmodown? Schmodown's movie trivia online, man. They do all kind of stuff as far as, movies, producers, all kind of stuff. I love Schmodown, and being a part of Schmodown for me, I started about 4 years ago, and it was all about trying to bring a different light to reality of wrestling. Reality of wrestling, we're cutting edge as far as what young people are doing. One of the guy, Christian Harloff, actually worked for WWE, and the concept of the Schmodown actually kind of came from professional wrestling. And for me, if I could, what we call in the business, give somebody a rub, you give somebody a rub, that's really what it's all about, because we help those guys out, they help us out. And like I say, as far as our subscribers on our YouTube channel, literally, the Schmodown was the beginning of the rise of our YouTube channel moving up. When we first started with Schmodown, we had less than 20,000 YouTube subscribers, and they helped us build, like I said, to 190, almost 200 at this point. So we appreciate those guys for helping us out. Hey, man, that's about my hour almost up. I appreciate you guys. Like I say, guys, a lot of this is going to be on my radio show tonight. We definitely going to put up some of the clips on the show. You guys get a chance, check out Hall of Fame. Comes on the podcast every week, Monday. A big Stevie Ray, man, he's doing real good, man. We're thinking about that revival thing. We're thinking about going out there and touching them boys up, breaking them off just a little piece of something proper like, and showing them what old school wrestling is all about. Like my brother said, we ain't hard to find, man. We gonna be, we gonna do them boys like they're supposed to be done. Make them bow down, make them pay my son, make them say, "Daddy, I don't want none. I had enough." So, man, my thing is this, man. If they want some, we ain't that hard to find. Again, guys, check me out, Hall of Fame, Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday night, ESPN 97.5. I love you guys. Appreciate it. I'm out.